Hello and welcome to How to Write a Short Film with me, Anthony Hett, the film coach. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the different types of scriptwriting software that are currently available to help you to format your scripts. As I've mentioned in previous videos, it's incredibly important for you to format your scripts so that they look and read as professionally as possible. And the easiest way to do that is to use one of the many different scriptwriting softwares that are currently available. So I've made a list of all the different ones that I know about. So you've got Amazon Storywriter, Celtx, Fade In, Final Draft, Highland, Movie Magic Screenwriter, Scrivener, Slug Line, Trebly, Writer Duet. Now hopefully that's all of them, but I might have missed one or two off the list, so if there's one that you'd recommend, then make sure to put it down in the comments below. When I started writing scripts when I was a teenager, I didn't have scriptwriting software. I wasn't even aware that it was available. And at the time, there certainly weren't as many available as there are now. There was maybe one or two different types. So the scripts that I wrote when I was in my late teens and early 20s were all written using Word, which is obviously great for formatting letters and stories and essays, but it's not so good when it comes to writing scripts. And so when I did learn about scriptwriting software, then it was like a massive revelation, because it made the whole process of writing a script a lot easier and a lot quicker. Now, I started writing in scriptwriting software in around about 2009. I just moved to London and I started studying for an MA in scriptwriting at City University. And my lecturer recommended to the whole class that we download a certain software, which I'm going to be talking about later in this video. So, talking from personal experience, I've used a couple of different types of software, and a lot of the software on the list I don't have personal experience of. But let me start with talking about the software that I know the best, the one that I currently use and have been using for around about 7 or 8 years, and that's Final Draft. Now I really like Final Draft. I find it really easy to use. I like the layout, I like the usability of it. I've been talking about this video and scriptwriting software on Twitter over the last few days, and I've had a lot of comments about Final Draft. Some good, some not so good. It's billed as the industry standard, and that's one of the reasons why I started using it, so that you can easily share the files with other people. And lots of writers do use it. Lots of the people that I know that write use Final Draft. But also online there's a lot of people talking about different software, one in particular, and how they used to use Final Draft, but they found that there was lots of bugs and glitches with it, and that they'd moved on to using different software. I haven't had that issue, but I also haven't used a lot of different types of software to be able to compare them. All that I know from my own personal experience is that Final Draft is really good. I've not had any issues with it. The main downside or the negative to it is the cost. It's not cheap. So to buy Final Draft, it costs around $250. Which is not cheap, 200 and something pounds. So especially when you're starting out and you want to start with scriptwriting software, you might not have $250 just lying around to pay. So there are cheaper software out there, and also free versions of software out there. But yeah, I would recommend Final Draft. I think it's very good at what it does. Although people have mentioned the negatives, and also the cost can be a bit prohibitive. What I would say is that I recently downloaded the mobile version onto my iPad. So the last week or so I've been typing onto my iPad. I found that really, really good. I don't know if it has all the same features as the main version. I basically just use scriptwriting software. I type in my script, I edit a few times, I save it as a PDF, share the PDF files. So for me, the mobile version of Final Draft is a really good alternative, because it costs $9.99 to download, so it's affordable version of a software that I like. So if you're writing on a tablet, then that might be a good option for you. Next up, I'm going to talk about fade in. So this is one that I've heard a lot about recently. So a lot of people on Twitter recommended it, said that they've moved from Final Draft to fade in and that they find it a lot better to use. There's a lot less issues with it. I don't have personal experience with it, but I have friends, I know people, writers that personally that have used it, and I've only heard good things from them, and I've heard lots of good things online, some negative things as well, of course, balance the argument out, but it does sound like a really good option, that it has all the features and maybe more than Final Draft at a much lower price. So you can get fade in for around about $79. So I think that's a really good alternative. I think that if I was looking for a new software to use, or if I was just new and I hadn't used one before, I was looking to start out, or if I had problems with Final Draft and I wanted to move on, then I think fade in would be the one that I would try to use. I think that it seems like a good option. People saying a lot of good things about it. One of the positives for fade in is that you can open all different files. So with Final Draft, sometimes you can't open other files from other software, or if you send Final Draft, people might not be able to open it. So the good thing about fade in is that you can open all different files, including Final Draft files. So that could be a good option. And lastly, I want to talk about Celtx. So Celtx is the version of software that I was recommended to by my lecturer when I started at uni. The reason for this was because it was free. So as a hard up student, I used Celtx for 2 or 3 years before I moved on to using Final Draft. I found Celtx really good, easy to use. One of the good things about Celtx is that you've got lots of features, lots of options together. So as well as writing scripts, you can use it to write a schedule and storyboard. So it's lots of different tools all in one place. But also what I would say is that when I moved from using Celtx to Final Draft, I found that I much preferred the layout of Final Draft. I found it clearer, cleaner, easier to use. I don't know how much Celtx has improved in the intervening years, so it might have got a lot better. It's 7 or 8 years since I used it, and it has free and paid versions. So I think the free version is a really good option, budget option, free option for when you're just kind of starting out. So those are my 3 recommendations. Final Draft, I use it, I think it's really good. Fade in, I've heard lots of good things about it. Celtx, I've used it in the past, it's a really good free option. I also have to give honourable mentions to Highland and to Duet. Lots of people online saying good things about those, especially for if you're writing with a writing partner. I believe that writing Duet is a really good option, and it makes it easy to share the scripts between writers. So those are my thoughts on the different script writing software that are available. Unfortunately, there's lots on the list that I didn't talk about, mainly because I just feel like I'd just be repeating what's online. So what I would say is that if you're on the lookout for new software because you're just starting out, or you're using one that you're not happy with, then check out all these on the list. Obviously, watch more videos, read articles and reviews about them, ask for recommendations from people that you trust, and also obviously the best way to work out which one is best for you is to try them. Often if they're not free, then there are trial or demo versions, so try and download them, use them, see which one is best for you. And also with kind of Black Friday coming up and the January sales not that far away, have a look at, keep an eye out for discounts on the more expensive versions of software to make it more affordable. So those are my thoughts on script writing software. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, then give it a like. Leave a comment below if you have a recommendation. Share this video with other people you think might find it helpful. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then do so and you will be given notifications of my upcoming videos. My next video will be on the topic of writing for your reader.